Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about visualization as a self-care tool, and I'm going to apply that to visualizing a world where there's not just equity, but there's freedom and liberation from systemic racism. Hi there, this is Melissa Johari, registered social worker here in Toronto. And it is June 2020. I'm doing this series on self-care, just given everything going on in the world today. I felt like just a little bit of self-love might be helpful and just rejuvenate us in this super stressful and uncertain time. So you can check out my other videos that I have done previously in this series. So one is on box breathing, another one on progressive muscle relaxation. The last one was on grounding. Today will be on visualization, and then next time I will outline some of my personal favorites. And then we will also be having a special guest speaker come in the next few weeks to talk more about self-care and the importance of it and why it's important and some ideas around it. So I'm looking forward to that, and stay tuned for that. So in terms of visualization, if you are familiar with The Secret, if you've read it or watched the movie, you kind of have an idea of what the idea is there. So being able to really visualize and picture what it is that you want in your life, and unconsciously your mind works towards that. And it's important when you're articulating that it be framed in a positive way. So for example, your unconscious mind doesn't understand negative. So for example, if you say to yourself, okay, don't think of a purple elephant. Don't think of a purple elephant. Now remember, it's really important. Don't think of a purple elephant. What are you going to do? You're going to think of a purple elephant. So if you, instead of that, because the unconscious doesn't understand negatives, so instead of saying don't think of this, frame it in such a way that it's positive. So if you don't want to think of the purple elephant, but what you actually do want to think about is a blue rhinoceros, then you can visualize the blue rhinoceros. You can think about how big it might be, the texture of the skin, what tone of blue it might be. So getting into all kinds of detail about what this blue rhinoceros might look like, instead of thinking about a purple elephant. So this goes with, this helps us achieve goals, specific goals that we might have for ourselves. So it can help in whatever goal that you might have. It can help with. So, and really ultimately, to be able to achieve that thing of whatever it is that you're visualizing, my belief is that, and I am a Christian counselor, I'll just put that out there. My belief is that God is the ultimate judge about what's granted and the timing. It's all in His perfect timing, and so when it happens and what is granted is He's the ultimate judge of when that happens. But if we ask in prayer and visualize in faith, then we will receive it. It's in the scripture. We will receive it, it says, Matthew 21. So being able to visualize, as long as it's something good and helpful and positive, then it is something that we it is possible to be able to achieve that, and it is a biblical concept. So, and then the other piece that I wanted to mention is a vision board. So another kind of way to visualize things that I've found helpful, and I know that others have found helpful, is to do a vision board. So this allows, because the unconscious mind responds to pictures really well. So to be able to formulate a vision of what you see for the future, it helps to actually have it laid out. So I did this one, I don't know if you can see it very well, but I started this a number of years ago, and then I just update it every year or so, and I just updated it again recently. So if you go to my website, thecouplewellnessexpert.com, I do have, I developed a wellness wheel. And on that wheel, I cover financial wellness, vocational wellness, spiritual wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, sexual wellness, financial wellness. Did I say sexual already? Social wellness. So anyways, these different wellness areas. So each of these kind of sections depicts what I visualize in each of those wellness areas. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but anyways, you can find out more about my wellness wheel on my website if you're so inclined. So the other piece that kind of got me onto this topic, I don't talk about this a whole lot, but I'm the interim president of OAMFT, which is the Ontario Association of Marriage and Family Therapy. And so given what's happened with the protests and with the murder of George Floyd, the board has asked me to write a statement on racial discrimination. So I was starting to work on that statement today, and just as I was writing it, I started to get teary, and just because it made me think about my own son, who is mixed black, and it just made me kind of reflect and think about things, just everything going on in the world, and so I got teary, and I just feel like no one is lesser than. No life is worth less than someone else's life. No one should be prejudged based on the color of their skin. Yet it happens. It happens every day. It happens everywhere, not just in the States. I'm in Toronto. It happens here in Canada too. And so it's not only in Minneapolis and with George Floyd. It's not only in these places. It happens in our own community. So as the mother of a mixed black boy, I am concerned. I'm concerned for his future, about ever being mistreated or misjudged based solely on his appearance. And I fear that it's only a matter of when that happens, not if that happens to him. And that makes me incredibly concerned and sad and disappointed in our society as a whole. And so for his sake and the sake of all people of color, we do need to take a stand. I love that we live in this wonderfully diverse city of Toronto, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that racism exists here in our own backyard. We're on the verge right now, I feel like we're on the verge of a revolution, and I'm so proud and touched by the protesters that have taken to the street and in the middle of a pandemic, no less, to make a statement. And it's a bold statement, and it's an overdue statement, and not even overdue. It's a repeated statement because we've gone through this already in our history, and so it's not new, and that's sad that it's taking so long to make these kind of changes that to me just seems so basic. Just to treat each other with respect and dignity. It's not a difficult concept. So the statement that's being made right now is, we're not going to put up with this systemic racism anymore, and we shouldn't, and we mustn't. And there is inequality in every system, whether it be the education system, the judicial system, vocational system, in the workplace. It's everywhere, of course, and it can be subtle, but it's still there. We can be polite, but it's still there. And so change needs to happen. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Change needs to happen. And change can come from one conversation, from a difficult conversation, but it can come from one conversation. Sorry, I'm getting teary, but this it hurts my heart, and it's close to home. Anyways, so change can come from one conversation. It can come from unlearning what we have learned in the most subtle of ways. And it can come from speaking out against microaggressions. It can come from policy changes. It can come from being proactive and preventative with increased funding. With increased funding for mental health and addictions. I'm a marriage counselor, and my specialty is premarital counseling. And the reason that I love to do premarital counseling is because it's proactive and preventative. And I always say, I always say to my clients that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? And so having programs in place is proactive, is preventative. More funding for mental health and addiction services, more support for those who are impoverished. These are important. These are preventative, and these work. And so the cutbacks that we've been seeing over recent years in education and in health system and in mental health need to be reversed. And I'm not, if you know me at all, I'm not a political person. I'm not outspoken about political things at all. But this is a piece that I've witnessed. I've seen in my work with families. These cutbacks have a huge impact on families, and then when the stress level is increased, then conflict can happen in the home, and then when that happens, there can be police interventions, and when police interventions take place, maybe things can get out of hand, and where it shouldn't. So it all is connected, and so as much as I'm not a political person, I do vote, and that's something that does make a difference. I know it makes a difference. I might not be vocal usually about political things, but this is a point that I felt was important to share and to talk about. And again, it's coming down to having those difficult conversations. And this video is longer than my other ones, so forgive me for that. But I felt that these points were important to make. And so anyways, to refer to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I also have a dream. I also have a dream that in our society, everyone would be treated equivalently, not necessarily equally, but equivalently. And then coming back to the visualization, I'd like to visualize a world in which my son is always, forevermore, being treated fairly, that he's celebrated for who he is and judged as a person only based on his heart and who he is, the amazing little person that he is on the inside. He's a toddler right now, so that's why I said little person. So he's 2 years old now, almost 3. But anyways, so for his entire lifetime, that's my visualization, that he never experiences this kind of discrimination or mistreatment, but framed in a positive way, that he is viewed by who he is on the inside as a precious gift from God. And I visualize a world where police are there to help people, where basic needs of the community are met and there's no poverty, that there's abundance. Sorry, that was a negative. So that there's abundance, I visualize a world where we love and support each other, a world where we care for one another, where we value each other and appreciate each other. So that's it for this visualization chat. I do thank you for watching and listening, and if you do have any requests for any other videos, please email me directly. My email is on my website, thecouplewellnessexpert.com. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, or share depending on what platform you're seeing this on. However, just be aware of confidentiality risks, given that those are public forums, public platforms. So thank you so much for watching, and all the best. God bless.